Hi, welcome back. It's Introduction to Remarkable Care, which is one of my favorite topics, and it is something that I am honored to dive into with you right now. So, what is remarkable care? So, what we're going to do on this little video segment is just talk about what remarkable care is, and then we'll dive into more specifics of how to apply it in future webinars. So what is remarkable care? So the idea of remarkable care is that we take care, great care in everything that we do. We aim to be impeccable for how we care for ourselves, for other people, for our community, for all the things that are around us. Remarkable care, you could have remarkable care in the way you care for your friend, the way you care for your child, the way you care for your garden, the way you care for your home, the way you care for your checkbook. Remarkable care can be applied to anything. The way you care for your team, the way you care for your patients, the way you care for your car, right? So remarkable care is an approach to life. It's sort of a philosophy of life. It is about putting energy and attention into things to produce higher outcomes, elevated outcomes, to create love, in fact, to create joy, to create healing, ease. That is the outcome of remarkable care. Remarkable care causes people to feel, when you do it for someone, to someone, it causes them to feel cherished. That's the outcome. So your home can feel cherished, if you will. Your mentor or mentee can feel cherished. Your patient can feel cherished. So one who seeks and displays remarkable care really is looking for the extraordinary and the impeccable in all that one does. It seeks to, the person who is committed to remarkable care goes above and beyond. It's all about how one cares for others, both in the way you care for people who are in your home, your family, as well as those that you care for here at Allume, which everybody, in my opinion, at Allume, the inspiration here is to be caring to everyone, to surround everyone you meet with remarkable care, and that includes, of course, your fellow employees, your team. It also includes care for yourself, how you care for your needs. And that's usually a place that needs a lot of support, is the care providers tend to care for others but don't necessarily make themselves a priority. And what happens when that happens, care providers start to get burned out, drained. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not knowing their own needs. They're not remarkably cared for. They don't feel it from within. And therefore, they're unable to provide remarkable care to others. Instead, they start to feel the opposite of remarkable care is when you do a lot for others, but you feel tired. You do a lot for others and you feel resentful. You do a lot for others, but you feel angry. Any of that that's going on, it's because you aren't providing remarkable care to yourself. And oftentimes it'll look like other people aren't providing you remarkable care. Well, I'm providing care for others, and I'm doing all of this, but nobody's giving back to me. And this is the misinterpretation of how it works, if you will, to feel cared for. If you want to feel remarkably cared for, you must take care of yourself. You must know your needs. You must know your wants. You must know your limits. And then you must find ways to communicate that and heal your anger. When you ask for things with anger, you'll have less success and you'll spread less good than when you are able to stand in a place of abundance and ask others for something. When you're standing in a place of anger or frustration, it means that it's time to go into remarkable care of yourself until you feel well enough and full enough that you can ask somebody for something without being in a place of anger. The result for you will be much bigger. So remarkable care is about all of that, okay? It's about learning how needs work, learning how to fill others' needs, learning how to listen to your own needs, and making care of oneself and care of others a priority, and eliminating the obstacles that prevent you from doing that, like getting super burned out or getting overwhelmed, finding how to de-stress yourself, de-overwhelm yourself. This is all part of what remarkable care is about, and we'll talk about many different ways that you can get to that place. A person who is delivering remarkable care will go above and beyond in all of that is expected. And they're only able to do that, again, if they are feeling themselves lit from within, that they have been delivering remarkable care to themselves. And so when you do that, though, when you care for yourself and then you give to others in a truly generous way, not in a have-to way, not in a burnout way, not in a righteous way, it produces what we call a wow. And that's where others feel it in their bones. Wow, that was really caring. Thank you. And it can come from really little, small, insignificant things. It can come from somebody taking the time to notice you and ask you how you are and mean it. Or it can be somebody recognizing when you walk in the door to their home that their home is very neat and they have shoes that are all set up at the side of the foyer, and pick up on the cue to take off your shoes and put on your indoor shoes or put on shoe covers. Don't trape into somebody's home without noticing that. That's going to cause a moment of thank you, acknowledgement. And so the lasting positive effect of a remarkable care act is that the person will feel understood, they'll feel cherished, they'll feel valued, they'll feel appreciated. And that is what we want to create over and over again. So again, cherished, respected, valued, deeply cared for. So that is if we could produce a feeling within Allume, if in everything that we do, whether it's how we go into a patient's home or how we first introduce ourselves to a patient in a hospital before they've come into our care, or the way we communicate with a discharge planner, or the way we communicate with any other people involved with caring for that individual, certainly in the way we want our employees to feel, we want the aroma of Allume to be that of cherished, respected, valued, and deeply cared for. So those are the feelings we want to create. So think about how you can feel these ways. What produces you feeling cherished? What produces you feeling respected? What produces you feeling valued? What produces you feeling deeply cared for? And you need to know this because this is part of your recipe, and we'll talk about this later when we build your curated care plan. But think about for yourself what helps you feel cherished. Because if you start to tap into what makes you feel cherished, then you can start to read between the lines and what will help others to feel cherished. So our gold standard at Allume is, so a gold standard is sort of like what we aim for as a representation that we've achieved the highest quality. So one way that we really measure quality is through our gold standard, which is to earn and deserve the trust of everyone who works at Allume or receives care from Allume. And so trust is not something that is given. It is something that must be earned. And there are things that one must do in the process, and we'll talk about that as well in later webinars. There are things that you can do to help communicate and earn trust. And it's not that's formulaic. It's suggestions that are curated or customized for each individual person or patient or family or employee. And we must earn it. We can't take it for granted. We must earn it by doing certain things that will communicate that we are trustworthy. And we must deserve it, which means that it can't be just something we do, sort of in a rudimentary or mechanical way. We have to deserve it. We actually need to deserve the trust because we're coming in and being honest, because we're coming in and doing the right thing, because we're coming in and delivering on the promises we give. We have to actually deserve it. We can't just go through the motions. We have to deserve it. And then to actually experience that people trust us. We want that, because if we are able to develop a feeling of trust between us and patients or us and employees, then we together can make a bigger healing impact, growth impact, outcome impact for that person. So as you think about the idea of trust, and trust is so big in our culture, the Allume culture that is, when you think about trust, I invite you to think about someone that you trust, be it a mentor or a family member, a friend. Just bring to mind right now someone that you trust. And just think about what has made it possible for you to trust them. What are the things that they've done that have made it possible for you to believe they can be trusted? Maybe you've shared information with them and they've told nobody else. They've kept it to themselves. Maybe it's that they reach out to you on a certain frequency and there's that regularity and rhythm. Maybe it's that when you are in your worst place, and for me, I get crabby, right? And maybe maybe for you, it might be when you get emotional or when you get whatever you get, right? We all have that. Maybe the person that you trust is able to be with you when you're in that place. So what makes it possible for you to trust that person? Just take a moment and maybe write it down. And now think about how it feels for you when you can trust somebody, right? How it feels when you can trust someone. I think about my husband, how I trust him. And I trust him with everything, really. But how it makes me feel is safe. It makes me feel grounded into to the soul of this earth, safe. It makes me feel free because I have that level of trust in my life. Someone I can trust, someone I can be with. Makes me feel safe. It makes me feel free. It makes me feel whole, right? So how did it make you feel? Think about the words that it would prescribe for you. And now the next question here, question number 4, is what could you do on your very first visit to someone's home to cultivate trust? What could you do to cultivate trust? Think about it. Write down some things. What comes to my mind right away, things I can do to cultivate trust, is listening. Certainly be on time, right? You say you're going to be there at 2 o'clock. You are in the parking lot or in the, pulled up to the house 5 minutes early, and you are standing at the door pushing the button at 2 o'clock. That communicates I fulfill on my commitments. I am here when you need me. Then again, walking into the home, paying attention, right? What is the rhythm of this house? Is it loud? Is it quiet? Is it rambunctious? How much privacy does this person seem to need or want? Starting to pay attention. So the way you can start to build trust is by paying attention. Listening, right, is really key to the first day of gathering bits. Telling them what you're going to do in that first visit, giving them a list, if you will, and then doing whatever it is that you said you would do. And then when it's time for you to leave, that you go back and you tell them what you did. That creates real certainty and clarity. I'm going to do this, 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 and it's going to take about this long, and then I'm going to leave. And when I'm leaving, I'm going to tell you and review quickly what I did. That will build trust. What could you do every time you visit a client's home to help them feel that trusting feeling for you? So for me, that trusting feeling was safe. What could I do every single time? It could be, and it's all kinds of little things, right? It's getting to know that patient, getting them to feel safe in this case. Just think about what you could do to help them feel that way. So if the word were safety, it might be that when you arrive, you might put a hand very calmly on their shoulder. Just a nice, warm touch that communicates that you're here and you're safe and you're stable, and greet them in a way that helps them know you're there and feel safe. It could be putting a blanket around their lap. It could be, again, every time, letting them know, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what we're going to do. Here's the plan for today. Those are some things that you can do. Other things you could do every time is before you leave. There are things you can do before you go. You can say, I'm going to be leaving soon. Is there anything else you need from me before I go? And then doing whatever those things are and leaving. Huge in the home way to communicate trust every time you go is to make sure that you leave the area that you're in at least as tidy as you found it. And I encourage you to actually make it brighter and better, more tidy. You left your Allume mark on the space, and you made it better, you made it brighter. So those are some things to think about in terms of developing the gold standard and trust. And now the next question is one that I think is very important for everyone. And so it's putting yourself in their shoes. So imagine you were injured and am able to get out of bed without assistance, and a stranger that you've never met before comes into your home to take care of you. And that's what's going on in home health, right? They're going to cook for you potentially. They're going to dress you potentially. They might need to take you to the bathroom. And what's more, they have the full capacity to move around your house, okay, with your family there, your children potentially, and all the things that are in your home. They have access to it. So just imagine that for a second, because that's what is going on when you go into somebody's home. So what would be your concerns and fears? What are you worried about having a stranger come into your home? Well, you might be afraid that somebody might hurt you. You might be afraid that somebody might hurt your loved one, if you're the mother, say, of, or the caregiver of a family member, right? You might be worried about that. You might be worried that they might steal from you. You might be worried that they won't take care of you. Maybe they'll not take care of your needs when you have them. Maybe they won't care, right? They won't care about you. Maybe they'll sit on their phone the whole time and not connect with you. Maybe you're afraid that they're going to talk too much, right? Maybe they're going to make you watch The Price is Right, and you hate The Price is Right, and they're going to be sitting there watching The Price is Right. I know those are small things, but those become the things. Maybe you're afraid that they're going to see you arguing with your family members. Maybe that maybe you're afraid they're going to see that you don't keep the best house, that your kitchen is dirty, right? So just take a moment and observe all the many things that might be a concern for you if you had somebody coming into your house when you are physically vulnerable. Okay, and how would you feel about having a stranger come to your home to do these things? Like cook for you, clean for you, see you naked, help you go to the bathroom, shower you. How do you feel about that? Speak for you. Maybe you can't speak because you had a stroke and now you can't speak, and so this person is speaking for you. So how would you feel having someone else that you don't know come do these things? I can tell you I would feel super vulnerable, scared. I would probably feel like I didn't, like my whole purpose in life, I'd shrunk. My authority in the world, suddenly I'd become less important or valuable because now I'm shrunken somehow. So what would set you at ease? What would make you feel a little better? Think about that. What would help you feel better? To have someone tell you what they're going to be doing, ask you, look for your input, speak softly, speak slowly. Maybe you would want them to have less time with you and give you space. Maybe you want more time with you. Those are all specifics of what each individual person would want. And you need to know what you would want, because if you know what you would want, you'll start to be able to listen for what others want. Make sure you understand that what you want might be different than others. But what would set you at ease? What would make you feel very uncomfortable, disrespected, angry? So if I had to go to the bathroom with somebody and I didn't have the ability to control it, and they were just moving me around like a physical object and not a human, I would feel pretty bad, right? If they were roaming around my house and out of my sight and I didn't know what they were doing, that would feel weird. If they didn't communicate to me what they were doing, that would be very uncomfortable. What would make you feel uncomfortable? And then what would make you feel trust, right? Is it the way they speak to you? Is it the way they touch you? Is it the way they cover your body, respect your privacy, ask your permission? And really, so the question you need to ask yourself is, what would a stranger need to do to earn and deserve your trust? And I encourage you to really think about that. Really think about it, because think about it in the next week as you imagine yourself going into your home, and imagine having somebody else there. Imagine what it would be like having somebody else in your home, and what would make you feel better about it. So we're going to be going through the building blocks of remarkable care in future videos, and one of them is the 10 steps of remarkable care, also the curated care plan. We'll talk about the hierarchy of need, and we'll talk about wants, needs, and preferences, and how to assess needs beyond those of the medical. So that's where we're going to stop for now, but thanks for listening in on Introduction to the Building Blocks of Remarkable Care. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email at admin@allumecares.com. I'd love to hear anything about what you got from this session today, and what makes you tick, what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel trust, what makes you feel remarkably cared for. All right, so go make the world a better place. I'll see you soon.